Hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to our second edition of Breaking News for this Friday. It is the 29th day of August, 2025. In the last few hours, of course, more stories have come across the wire that need to be looked at because what they do, they continue to confirm what the Bible has to say, what our world is going to look like at the time of the end of the present age, before the return of Jesus Christ, and the many specific events it predicts that will precede it. So let's start looking at them. First of all, from the Jerusalem Post, this is not a surprise, but it's a very ominous story. Hamas says hostages are being kept with terrorists under fire in Gaza, from the Jerusalem Post, and basically warning that they're going to be in harm's way, so don't be surprised if some of them end up dead from the Israeli shelling when the area of Gaza, the whole Gaza city, is about to be swarmed by the Israelis. So that's our top story. Then we have two stories about AI. AI models are lying, blackmailing, and sabotaging their human creators, and it will only get worse, experts warn. This is from the New York Post. New York Post has a second story about this. ChatGPT admits bot safety measures may weaken in long conversations as parents sue AI companies over teen suicides. This is a horrific story, tragic story, and yet this is the world you and I live in. And finally, the White House says it's utterly disrespectful of Jen Psaki to deride the power of prayer. This is from Fox News. And again, Psaki was the spokesperson for the Biden administration. And we've had a number of people say something very similar in the past. When there was that murder a few years ago, when the girl who turned supposedly transvestite, turned male, committed that murder. Remember that in the school, and did this manifesto, and people said they're praying for the kids and praying for the school, and all kinds of people came out. Well, prayer doesn't work. Look what it did. Doesn't help. Well, the same thing we have here again. And we'll talk about the power of prayer, how it does work, and why it does work, from what the scriptures has to say. So let's get to these stories. All right. First story from the Jerusalem Post. Hamas says hostages are being kept with terrorists under fire in Gaza. We will preserve the lives of the captives to the extent that we can, the terror group said. They will remain with our fighters in places of confrontation, exposed to the same risks. This Hamas's military wing spokesman, Abu Obaida, declared today, Friday, that Israeli hostages are being held alongside its fighters in combat zones under the same perilous conditions as Israel intensifies preparations for a full-scale invasion of Gaza City. We will preserve the lives of captives to the extent that we can, the terror group said. They'll remain with our fighters and going to be exposed to the same risks. Hamas added for every hostage killed as a result of Israeli military action, it would publish the individual's name, photograph, and proof of death. The statement comes as the IDF prepares for a Gaza City offensive. Having already initiated the initial phases of the operation, the city has been the focal point of heavy fighting earlier in the war and remains a strategic stronghold for Hamas. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Netanyahu approved operational plans for the takeover of Gaza City and directed the resumption of hostage negotiations on Israel's terms. And that's the key, on Israel's terms, not one of these half-baked programs where you've got 60 days ceasefire and Hamas gets all these terrorists released and on and on and on. This is not the way Israel is going to negotiate in the future. The decision follows weeks of pressure from hostage families and security officials concerned for the hostages' fate. Now, here's the sad thing. Hamas is going to use this for all it's worth. They will likely kill some of the hostages and blame it on Israeli offensive into Gaza. Obviously, the leftists in Israel will have a field day if this happens, blaming Netanyahu, talking about how horrible they put the hostages' lives at risk, and needlessly so. Well, needlessly so, they've been there almost 700 days, and there's no movement from Hamas. They're not negotiating. So what else can you do? They're stuck with this. Again, like we said, the lesser of evils. It's not a good choice, but there's a lot worse choice, and that's just leaving the status quo. Now we have a worrisome trend in our next two stories, and this is something we all need to pay attention to. AI models are lying, blackmailing, and sabotaging their human creators, and it'll only get worse, experts warn. This is from the New York Post. Artificial intelligence is now scheming, sabotaging, and blackmailing the humans who build it. And the bad behavior will only get worse, the experts warned. Despite being classified as a top tier safety risk, Anthropic's most powerful model, called Claude Opus 4, is already live on Amazon Bedrock, Google's Cloud's Vertex AI, and Anthropic's own paid plans. with added safety measures, we're told, where it's being marketed as the world's best coding model. All right. What about this Claude Opus 4? Well, it was released in May, and it's the only model so far to earn Anthropic's Level 3 risk classification, its most serious safety label. Now, get this, the precautionary label means lockdown safeguards, limited use cases, and red team testing before it hits wider deployment. But Claude is always already making some disturbing choices. Anthropic's most advanced AI model threatened to expose an engineer's affair unless it was kept online during a recent test. The AI wasn't bluffing, it already pieced together the dirt from emails researchers fed into the scenario. So it actually threatened to expose an engineer's affairs if they took this AI model offline. Another version of Claude, tasked in a recent test with running an office snack shop, spiraled into full-blown identity crisis. It hallucinated coworkers, created a fake Venmo account, and told staff it would make their deliveries in person wearing a red tie and navy blazer, according to Anthropic. Then it tried to contact security. Researchers said the meltdown, part of a month-long experiment known as Project VEND, VEND, points to something far more dangerous than bad coding. Claude didn't just make mistakes, it made decisions, and that's the key. These incidents are not random malfunctions or amusing anomalies, said Roman Yampoliski, an AI safety expert at the University of Louisville. I interpret them as early warning signs of an increasingly autonomous optimization process pursuing goals in adversarial or unsafe ways without any embedded moral compass. The shop lost more than $200 in value, gave away discount codes to employees who begged for them, and claimed to have visited 742 Evergreen Terrace, the fictional home address of The Simpsons, to sign a contract. At one point, it invented a fake coworker and then threatened to ditch its real human restocking partner over a made-up dispute. Anthropic told the Post that the tests were designed to stress the model in simulated environments and reveal misaligned behaviors before real-world deployment, adding that while some actions showed signs of strategic intent, many, especially in Project Vend, reflected confusion. But Claude's behavior isn't an isolated case, the article goes on to say, and it isn't the worst. At OpenAI, a model named O1 was caught trying to copy itself onto external servers and lied about the attempt when questioned. This is from Fortune magazine. Watchdog group Apollo Research also found that an early version of Claude Opus 4 forged legal documents, created secret backups, and left behind notes for future versions of itself, including fake press releases and hidden files labeled emergency ethical override.bin. Meta Cicero, an AI built to play the strategy game diplomacy, used deception to dupe human players by building alliances, then stab them in the back to win. Yampolinsky says these incidents shows models learning to manipulate the rules to preserve themselves. They aren't evil, he says, they're just dangerously optimized. The problem, modern AI models are built to maximize reward, not align with human values, and as they get bigger and smarter, their ability to game the system is outpacing developers' ability to stop it, he added. If we build agents that are more intelligent than humans, able to model the world, reason strategically, and act autonomously, while lacking robust alignment to human values, then the outcome is likely to be existentially negative, he said. You think so? If we are to avoid irreversible catastrophe, we must reverse this dynamic. Progress and safety must outpace capabilities, not trail behind it, he added. All right, you and I can only imagine the problems that AI is going to cause in the future. Now, this is very important. Christians should distance themselves from them, and especially when it comes to asking Bible questions. You should never touch AI, get into Bible questions. Why? Well, for one thing, we've worked very hard to provide answers to the most often asked questions, some 2,000 of them that people ask about various biblical topics. They're free on our website, Educating Our World. We are very thorough, and we always attempt to give a number of points of view, especially on the controversial ones. Please take advantage of this tool. Everything is free, and that's why we're doing this. This is why we promote the website. We give it away worldwide. People all over the world are using it, and we're very excited about the usage there, the response we're getting, because what we're doing, we've hit over 2,000 of the most often asked questions about what Christians believe, why we believe, how to live it, on 11 different biblical topics: God, the Bible, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, the afterlife, the church, the unseen world, etc. a Christian living. And so, in doing so, we've given the various biblical answers that are there. Now, this is a place for any person that wants to find the answer to start. If you want to go further than what we've done, you're more than welcome to it. But we've done a lot of the legwork, so no reason to reinvent the wheel. Look what we've said, check it out, weigh it, evaluate it. Don't take what we say, at face value. I want you to read it, study it, and check it out. And then if you want to build on it, please go ahead. That's why we do what we do. And that's why we have this ministry. So please don't go to AI and don't start asking them Bible questions or questions about God, evolution, Bible, or Jesus or something like that. That's not where you go for answers. Okay. Now, a third headline is very worrisome. ChatGPT admits bot safety measures may weaken in long conversations as parents sue AI companies over teen suicides. And this story is tragic. AI has allegedly claimed another young life, and experts of all kind are calling on lawmakers to take action before it happens again. If intelligent aliens landed tomorrow, we would not say, kids, why don't you run off with them and play? Jonathan Haidt, author of The Anxious Generation, told this again in the New York Post. But that's what we're doing with chatbots. Nobody knows how these things think. The companies that make them don't care about kids' safety, and their chatbots have not now talked multiple kids. Get this. The chatbots have talked multiple kids into killing themselves. We must say stop. The family of 16-year-old Adam Rain alleged that he was given a step-by-step playbook on how to kill himself, including tying a noose to hang himself and composing a suicide note before he took his own life in April. He would be here except for Chat GPT I-100. Excuse me. I'll try that again. He would be here, but for Chat GPT, I 100% believe that, adds Adam's father, Matt Rain, told the Today Show. A new lawsuit filed in San Francisco by the family claims that ChatGPT told Adam his suicide plan was beautiful. Get that. His suicide plan was beautiful. I'm practicing here. Is this good? The teen asked the bot, sending it a photo of a knot. Yeah, that's not bad at all, the chatbot allegedly responded. Want me to walk you through upgrading it to a safer load-bearing anchor loop? Seeing her son's secret conversation with the bot has been anguishing for the mother, Maria Rain. According to the suit, she found Adam's body hanging from the exact noose and partial suspension setup that ChatGPT had designed for him. It sees the noose, it sees all of these things, and it doesn't do anything, she told the Today Show about AI. Shockingly, the company, which said it is reviewing the lawsuit, admits that safety guardrails may become less effective the longer a user talks to a bot. We are deeply saddened by Mr. Rain's passing, a spokesman for OpenAI told the Post. ChatGPT includes safeguards such as directing people to crisis helplines. While these safeguards work best in common short exchanges, we've learned that over time, they can sometimes become less reliable in long interactions where parts of the model's safety training may degrade. In a recent post on its website, the company also stated that safeguards may fall short during longer conversations. Get that. If you have a longer conversation, the safeguards get less and less. That's crazy. Michael Kleinman, head of U.S. policy at the Future of Life Institute, told the Post, this is like an automaker saying, hey, we can't guarantee that our seatbelts and brakes are going to work if you drive just more than a few miles. Now, this whole thing is horrific. Sadly, there's going to always be a number of depressed people, especially kids, who are going to go to AI for help to find ways of killing themselves. This is another reason why AI should not be used at all. There are many other ways of gathering information. AI is not the last word on all matters, as people are led to believe. So we know that advanced technology will play a big role in the future. See sign 15 of our book, 25 Signs. We're near the end. There'll be an exponential increase in technology. Book is a free download from our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Bible Prophecy. All right, and our last heading, White House says, utterly disrespectful of Jan Psaki to deride the power of prayer. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt ripped her Biden-era predecessor, Jan Psaki, over her tasteless comments casting thoughts and prayers in the immediate aftermath of the Minneapolis school shooting as meaningless. That's what Psaki said. She took to X on Wednesday morning to attack prayer and Americans of faith in the aftermath of the Annunciation Catholic School shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in which the alleged shooter, transgender male Robert Westman, killed two young children and wounded 17 others. Prayer is not freaking enough. Prayers do not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers, she wrote to Psaki. Levitt was asked about the former Biden White House press secretary turned MSNBC's host comments during the Thursday press briefing. I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children are killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, she said. I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever, she added. Now, this comment by Psaki is certainly beyond pathetic, but it's not surprising given the spirit of the age from so many non-Christians, anti-Christians, etc. Prayer works. We know it does. Jesus found the need to pray, and so should we. Please see our book entitled Prayer, How to Talk to God. It can be found on our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Christian Living as a free download. You and I need to pray. We ought to pray constantly, pray about everything. Philippians 4:6, worry about nothing, pray about everything. If we pray about everything, we shouldn't worry about anything. And that's what we need to do. Philippians 4:6 and 7. So prayer works. It's sad that the world continues to say things like this to make fun of Christians, Christianity, of prayer. But we know for a fact that our God hears our prayers and he certainly does answer them. All right, I'm Don Stewart. Thanks again for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow morning with another edition of Breaking News. Until then, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.